12 hours from now, when President Trump is set to reveal his nominee to join the Supreme Court. He spent most of the weekend talking to aides and some of his old friends about who he should choose. But as of Sunday afternoon, in true Trump drama fashion, he appeared he had still not made up his mind.
Let's say it's the four people, and they're excellent, everyone. You can't go wrong. But I'm getting very close to making a final decision. I'll probably be decided tonight or tomorrow sometime by 12 o'clock, and I think we're going to all be meeting at 9 o'clock. And we have a great country, folks. We have a great country.
He knows how to create a cliffhanger. That is his jam. Right now, a source with firsthand knowledge of President Trump's Supreme Court selection process tells NBC News none of the top four contenders have been excluded. Those four are Brett Kavanaugh, Thomas Hardiman, Raymond Ketledge, and Amy Coney Barrett. But that same source tells NBC the two judges getting the most attention are Brett Kavanaugh and Thomas Hardiman. So let's break down those potential nominees. Who is Kavanaugh? He is the 53-year-old currently serving on the Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit. On the plus side, he is a favorite of White House counsel Don McGahn, who has been key to helping the president through this process. But he also has ties to George W. Bush, which could be problematic for Trump supporters. One other issue with Kavanaugh, he's got 12 years worth of decisions that senators would want to go meticulously through, potentially delaying the confirmation. On the other hand, Thomas Hardiman may have a much easier time getting confirmed. That's the opinion of Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, who reportedly spoke to President Trump in recent days. The president also picked Hardiman for the Supreme Court last time, but ended up going with Neil Gorsuch instead. Hardiman also has the support, and this is important, of President Trump's sister, Judge Marianne Trump Barry, who served with him in Philadelphia. Neither Barrett nor Ketledge appeared to increase their chances after they met with the president. But as we said before, Mr. Trump has not publicly ruled out anyone. One other issue with Barrett, her views on abortion could draw opposition from pro-choice Republican senators Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski. Remember, if all Democrats oppose the nominee and John McCain cannot vote, either one of those two women could sink the nomination. That said, several Republicans have said the president has an excellent group to choose from.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.